All right, let's jump right in, shall we? Today's deep dive takes us into the heart of the crypto market.
Buckle up.
Using the Crypto Market Report, December 9th, 2024, by Crypto Deep Dive, no less. And wow, some of this stuff is, well, pretty wild.
Yeah, today's a bit of a head-scratcher.
Like Pepe, the meme, it's a coin now.
Yeah.
And get this, it's actually worth more than Uniswap.
Memes are serious business these days, it seems.
And then there's the Cardano thing. Someone tried to, hack them using their X account.
Yeah, bold move. Didn't work, though, thankfully.
So what else jumped out at you from this report? What's the big picture here?
The overall crypto market is being, well, kind of weird. The total value's up, right? A little bit, at least. But here's the thing. Bitcoin and Ethereum, they're actually down.
Huh. Yeah, the report calls it a mixed bag, but that feels like, I don't know.
An understatement.
Yeah, maybe. So what does this actually mean, for the market's future?
Well, it could mean, that a market correction is on the way.
Right. But everyone seems so optimistic still, right? I mean, the report talks about this fear and greed index being high.
True. Lots of folks still feeling greedy, hoping for those big gains.
So is that index a reliable thing to watch? How does it even work?
Basically, it's like a thermometer for market sentiment. Measures how much fear or greed is driving things.
So lots of greed could mean more gains, but also
higher chance of a correction. It's a bit of a balancing act, this whole thing.
Makes sense. Even when things seem good, you got to stay cautious.
Exactly. Don't let the FOMO get the best of you.
Speaking of good, the report highlights some pretty impressive winners.
Like who?
Solana Swap. SOS? It's up a crazy 58%. What's driving that kind of surge?
Honestly, with a jump that big, it's usually something specific, maybe a hot new product or, just a sudden wave of people jumping on board.
Hype, you mean?
Could be, but it's always smart to, do your homework before you dive in head first.
Good point. Research before you leap, everyone. The report also mentions Movement, Immove, and Floki, both doing pretty well. Anything connecting those two?
It's interesting, actually. They represent kind of two separate trends that are, gaining steam right now.
Like what?
So Move, they just launched their mainnet. That's a big deal for their underlying blockchain tech.
Or a sign of maturity, I guess.
Exactly. Then you've got Collode AI, another meme coin, defying all expectations. Shows you the power of,
meme culture.
Pretty much. It's a force to be reckoned with in the crypto world, that's for sure. Though, it can be pretty unpredictable.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But, what goes up must come down, right?
Yeah.
The report also lists KaiI, Quant, QNT, and Gala, all taking a bit of a hit. Should holders be worried?
Not necessarily. It's normal for things to fluctuate, even in a generally positive market.
So what's the story with these three then?
Well, KIA, it could be just cooling off after a recent rally, kind of like a breather.
Taking a pause.
Yeah. And then you've got QNT, Quant. It might be facing some temporary challenges.
Even though it's a solid project overall.
Exactly. Strong fundamentals, but even the best projects hit bumps in the road. And then Gala, it could be that early investors are taking some profits, cashing out after those previous gains.
That's the thing with crypto, right? It's always a bit of a roller coaster.
Volatility is the name of the game. High risk, high reward.
You got to be ready for both.
Yeah.
But here's a weird thing from the report. Even with all the good vibes out there, most cryptos actually lost value today. Doesn't that seem kind of backwards?
It does, doesn't it? But it just goes to show you how volatile this market really is. I mean, yeah, there's potential for those massive gains, but you also got to be prepared for losses, too.
Risk management is key, people. Speaking of big moves, the report talks about Riot Platforms planning a huge Bitcoin purchase. $500 million worth of Bitcoin. They must really believe in it, huh?
It's a pretty big statement, that's for sure. And Riot Platforms, they're not just some small-time player. They're a major force in Bitcoin mining. So this move, it kind of aligns with Bitcoin's recent price rally and this whole trend of institutional interest in crypto.
So it's like a signal to the market, you think?
Could be. When a big player like that puts their money where their mouth is, other institutions tend to take notice.
It's like they're saying, hey, we're all in on this. Speaking of all in, let's talk about El Salvador. Remember them?
Oh, yeah. The Bitcoin nation, their journey has been quite a ride.
And it seems like they might be adjusting their course a bit. The report mentions possible changes to their Bitcoin law so they can get a loan from the IMF. What's that all about?
That's where things get really interesting. You see, El Salvador making Bitcoin legal tender, that was a bold move.
Super bold.
But it's created some friction with those traditional financial institutions like the IMF. So this potential shift, it suggests they're trying to find some middle ground.
Between Bitcoin and the old guard, balancing their Bitcoin dreams with the need for that global financial support. It's a tough spot to be in.
Yeah, navigating those two worlds can't be easy. And speaking of navigating new worlds, we can't ignore Pepe, the meme coin that's now worth, get this, more than Uniswap.
It's mind-boggling, isn't it? Pepe's rise, it's like a perfect example of how meme culture can just completely reshape the crypto landscape.
Is it all just hype, though? Or is there something more to it?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, are we witnessing the birth of a whole new asset class driven by, like, pure community engagement? It makes you rethink what value even means in the digital age.
It's exciting and a little bit scary all at the same time, but let's not get too lost in the memeverse. The report also had some pretty serious stuff about security, like the Cardano Foundation's X account, it got hacked, and then there's this new AI-powered scam targeting Web3 workers.
It's kind of unnerving, to be honest. So what can we do? Like, as everyday crypto users, what steps can we take to protect ourselves from these increasingly sophisticated scams?
That's the key question, right? And the first thing is, remember that old saying, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Always be wary of those promises of guaranteed returns or anything that pressures you to invest quickly. Those are major red flags. Seriously, if it feels off, it probably is. Trust your gut. Especially with crypto, things move so fast.
Right. Got to stay sharp. So any other tips for spotting those scams before they get you?
Absolutely. Always double check your sources. Make sure you're getting your crypto news from places you can actually trust. And those random messages or social media posts, take those with a grain of salt.
Don't believe everything you read online. Like, it's good advice in general. But what about actually securing our stuff, our wallets, our accounts, all that? Any best practices there?
Strong passwords, unique ones for each platform, and two-factor authentication whenever you can. Think of it as an extra layer of protection around your crypto.
Like a digital vault with a bunch of locks.
Exactly. Speaking of bringing justice to the crypto world, the report mentioned that Polish authorities arrested the former CEO of this Russian crypto exchange, WEX it was called. Sounds kind of intense.
It does. What happened there?
Well, he's facing some pretty serious charges involving some alleged shady dealings. And get this, the U.S. is actually trying to extradite him.
Wow. So it's like the long arm of the law is reaching into the crypto world now.
It is. In this case, it really shows how regulation and law enforcement are starting to play a bigger role in the crypto space. As crypto goes more mainstream, you're going to see more efforts to, crack down on the bad guys and hold them accountable.
Makes sense. It's like the Wild West days of crypto are maybe coming to an end.
Maybe, but not all regulation is bad news, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like what? The report mentioned this potential tax break for crypto holders in the Czech Republic.
Interesting. Tell me more.
So the Czech government, they're proposing to exempt cryptocurrency that's been held for more than 3 years from taxation.
So like a long-term holding benefit.
Exactly. And it's a pretty big deal. It's governments are starting to recognize crypto as a legitimate asset class,
Yeah, it's not just some fringe thing anymore.
Nope. And this tax break, it could even encourage more people to hold on to their crypto longer, which could lead to, more stability in the market.
Hold and prosper, right?
Yeah.
But what about the not so bright side of the NFT world? The report mentioned something about the Brooklyn district attorney having to shut down a bunch of NFT scam websites.
Yeah, unfortunately, just like with any new and, exciting market, the NFT space has its share of scammers and bad actors.
So what happened in this case?
It was this whole complex scheme, ended up with a bunch of people losing a lot of money. And it just emphasizes the importance of, doing your due diligence. Research, research, research. Make sure you're dealing with legit platforms and projects before you part with any of your hard-earned cash.
Buyer beware, even in the digital world. So one last thing from the report that really blew my mind. Over 400 million crypto wallets now have, an actual balance. That's a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
What does that tell us about, the state of crypto adoption?
It's huge. It just shows you how much crypto has grown and how widely it's been adopted, all over the world. I mean, think about it. Just a few years ago, the number of crypto wallets was, minuscule compared to that. It really feels like we're seeing a fundamental shift in how people think about and use money in crypto. It's at the forefront of that shift.
Like we're on the verge of a financial revolution.
It's definitely a possibility. It's exciting and a little bit intimidating all at once, right?
Yeah, for sure. So before we get to our final thoughts, let's just recap some of the key takeaways from today's deep dive into the crypto market. What do you think?
Yeah, good idea. It's always good to take a step back and see the big picture, remind ourselves of the important stuff.
All right, so first up, the big one, volatility. It's a constant in the crypto world. Even with everyone feeling super optimistic, most cryptos actually ended up down today.
That's right. It's a roller coaster, and you got to be prepared for the ups and downs.
And then there's the whole meme coin thing. Pepe, it's a fascinating case study, but it also shows how risky those meme coins can be. Don't get caught up in the hype.
Exactly. Do your research, understand the risks, and never invest more than you can afford to lose.
Wise words. And as the crypto space keeps growing and evolving, so do those threats from, like, hackers and scammers. All right, so those are some of the key things to remember from today's market report. It's a dynamic space, full of opportunities, but also full of risks.
Yeah, the crypto world, it never stands still, does it?
Nope. Always keeps you on your toes. So before we let our listeners go, I want to leave them with something to think about. The report mentioned that over 400 million crypto wallets now have a balance. That's a massive number.
It's mind-blowing, really. It shows you just how mainstream crypto is becoming.
And as it becomes more mainstream, what's that going to mean for the future of finance? How's it going to change those traditional systems? And what role can each of us play in this whole evolving landscape?
That's the big question, isn't it? And there's no easy answer. It's something we're all going to be figuring out together in the years to come.
And that's what makes it so exciting, right? We're all part of this grand experiment shaping the future of finance, in real time.
It's a thrilling time to be involved in crypto, that's for sure. The possibilities are endless.
I couldn't agree more. Well, folks, that wraps up our deep dive into the crypto market for today.
Stay informed, stay vigilant, and most importantly, stay curious.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Until next time, happy diving.